So continuing on with the video from before, our ultimate goal here is to convert 31.87 grams of carbon into atoms of carbon. All right, how many atoms of carbon in 31.87 grams? So step one, convert to moles. And to convert to moles, I've got to use the molar mass. And the molar mass for an element is the same as the average atomic mass that's found on the periodic table. Step two, I've got to convert moles to atoms. And for that, I use Avogadro's number. And Avogadro's number tells us that 1 mole has 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. And actually, I'd like to change that a little bit. I'd like to add an additional 2 in there. So 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms is 1 mole. So if I'm going to go step one, 31.87 grams of carbon times, I'm going to make a conversion factor out of the molar mass. I know that the molar mass of carbon, we know that that's 1 mole, is 12.01 grams. So the 1 mole goes in the numerator and the 12.01 grams goes in the denominator. And when I punch that into my calculator, 31.87 divided by 12.01, I get 2.65 moles of carbon. As I continue on to step two, converting moles of carbon, 2.654 moles of carbon, and I use Avogadro's number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms per mole. When I multiply that out, I get 1.598 times 10 to the 24th atoms of carbon. Now this problem's a little more advanced, and we'll get into this a little bit more later on this week. But I wanted to give you kind of the big picture of how to convert between moles and particles. So if we were to make kind of a roadmap here, moles is kind of the center of everything in chemistry. And so far in this lesson, we have looked at how to convert back and forth between moles and mass. And in order to go from moles to mass, we had to use the molar mass. And we found the molar mass on the periodic table. So for example, in that last problem, we found on the periodic table that 1 mole of carbon had a mass of 12.01 grams. Also in that last problem, we looked at converting between moles and particles. And specifically in that problem, the particle that we were interested in were atoms. And in order to make that conversion, we had to use Avogadro's number, sometimes called Avogadro's constant. And Avogadro's number tells us that 1 mole has 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd particles, or things, or in this case, atoms. And so we'll look at this a lot this week. Tonight you're going to have some homework that is either going to have you working on this side, right, converting between moles and mass, or problems that have you convert between moles and particles. Maybe I'll throw one in there that has you going the whole way because that's simply putting those two steps together, but maybe we'll ease into this as well.